Hey everyone, it's me, Corrie Sommers, your local Los Angeles realtor. Today we're going to be going over an overview of the home buying process here. It's a general overview, so this really applies to all states. And we're going to go from A to Z. So if you need to take some notes, take the next couple of seconds to get yourself situated. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, I'm going to say, please take a moment to click the subscribe button and the bell for updates, and I'll be right back. Hi everyone, it's me, Corrie Sommers, your local Los Angeles realtor. Right now today, there are a lot of home buyers entering the market that have either never purchased a home before because they're millennials that have been waiting and saving up, or they've been moving around the country and it's been a while, so they're kind of forgetting, what do we do? What's the process? Oftentimes I find with first-time home buyers, they tend to kind of do things out of order. And what I mean by that is they think they know what their budget is based on, how they're spending money right now, what their bills are, but they haven't talked to a lender and they're planning to do financing. And they want to look at property and try to figure that out instead of really relying on a professional to sit down with and go over the process. So the very first thing you should be doing when you're thinking about buying a home, well, it's really kind of twofold. One, you should find a real estate agent to work with. You need to find a professional that is someone you feel comfortable with, that you can trust, who knows what they're doing. It should be someone that's had their license for more than a couple years, that's done more than a couple of deals. Depending on which part of the country, some parts of the country do a lot of business at smaller price points. Some parts like Los Angeles do less volume but higher dollar amounts. And really though, experience is the one that gives you wisdom and skill. I'm not here to talk about all my experience. We could talk about that another time. But the point is, you really want to find a professional to work with. A professional is going to guide you along the way. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of times I'm seeing in the market in the last year, buyers are doing things out of order. So once you have found that agent that you're going to work with, that next big step is really to get your financing in order and get your pre-approval. And what do I mean by that? Well, your credit score. Your credit score to have the best interest rates should be, at this point, over 660, but really if you're in the 700s, you're going to get the better interest rate. But you can still get a loan at 660. Have your things in order. When you go to apply for a pre-approval, they need to see your last 2 years of taxes. And at the time of recording this video, we're about to enter into April, and tax time is coming again. So this is the year 2023, so really and truly your taxes from 2022 and your taxes from 2021. If you don't have those taxes yet, you can probably still get approved with 2021 and 2020, but just know you're going to need to be doing 2022s fairly quickly. Most lenders need those 2 years of tax returns. They need the last 2 months of bank statements and your last 2 paycheck stubs. Now, if you're someone that works for yourself or an entrepreneur, you own your own business, you can also show your taxes from the business and your bank statements from the business. A lot of times when you own a business, you might be taking a stipend or whatever, but these are things to really go over with the lenders because there are very specific programs that work for someone who's an entrepreneur. It might mean that you need to do a bank stated program versus other programs. It might have an effect on your interest rates, but this is where having those conversations is very important. Now, the reason that I say your first step is really to pick an agent. Most real estate agents have relationships with different lenders. Sometimes we've found amazing lenders that some of our past clients have worked with and they've become our go-to, or we've just had clients work with certain lenders a lot and we really know how they work and how they go above and beyond and are able to, jump through the hoop when there's a hoop, get the job done, and keep this pretty seamless for our clients. So those things are very important. Whatever you do, do not go online and look for an online lender because they promise the world and underdeliver, and usually you end up very upset, very sorry, and the deal falls apart. If you are considering buying a home and you're really not sure where to start and you need to talk to somebody to get an understanding of if you're ready, what the appropriate steps are, should you be looking before a pre-approval, how much money do you need saved, we can schedule an appointment. I have a link in my calendar below. It's the Calendarly link, 15-minute quick conversation to get us started, and I will follow up with you with some key points of our next steps. I look forward to strategizing with you and helping you buy your new home. Now, I strongly recommend when you've picked your real estate agent, you sign an exclusive buyer's agent agreement. And there's a number of reasons for this. You want to know that you are a priority to that real estate agent, and the only way you're truly a priority is when you've signed an agreement with them. You want to demonstrate that you're serious just as much as you want them to demonstrate how serious and committed they are to you, and that's what this contract does. The other thing is there's a lot starting to happen right now in the world when it comes to there's a whole video I'm about to do on it. You know what? I'm going to leave that topic alone. Just have your agreement, because you want to make sure there's someone working on your behalf as a fiduciary, really fighting for you and only you. The next step that's going to happen is you should have a conversation with your agent about your wants and your needs. What's most important to you? Where are you working? Are you working from home part-time? Are you having to commute into an office space? What does that look like? What features do you want in your home? What amenities are important for you to be near? Do you have kids? Is there certain schools that are important? Do you like to hike? Do you like the beach? There's a lot of things to consider. And having those conversations with your agent will really narrow that down. Now, I find a lot of times with first-time home buyers, you need to explore a bit, but right now, due to COVID, there's a lot we can accomplish by sitting down and doing a Zoom. And really, when you have an agent that knows a wide variety of areas, they can really go over the pros and cons of different parts. I find that in the past, a lot of advice that's been given is, go with the neighborhood specialist. And so people think that you need to work with a real estate agent that lives in a very specific area that you're looking in, and you should have a real estate agent in each specific area. That is a fallacy. A good agent, because they're showing property, because they've maybe lived in the area or moved around a bit themselves, but has shown property, knows what's on the market, is constantly out there looking at homes, is gonna be able to guide you in a multitude of neighborhoods. Don't limit yourself by thinking you need the neighborhood specialist, okay? That's one of my little things I wanna say. Also really important to understand is, depending on what all those wants and needs are, there might be more than one neighborhood that can work for you. And this is where working with an agent that knows a wider variety of areas and that can really listen and understand and show you things will come in handy. So the next step, you're gonna go out and look at some property. You're gonna find a home that best fits your needs, your budget, that feels good, that you can work with. Hopefully it's move-in ready, or maybe it's a brand new construction. And the next obstacle to accomplish is winning the offer. There's still competition right now. In areas that are high demand, there's competition. In the thing that is, if you watch any of my market updates, that you really should understand at this point, is there's not a lot of inventory on the market, and it has been declining and declining and declining. So even though we've been hearing, maybe news about, the real estate market, this, that, and the other, the fact is there's less and less inventory. So just like we've been in the longest running seller's market in history, we are in the slowest transitioning market. We are not in a buyer's market. We are still in a seller's market. And as long as we continue to have less and less inventory, we will stay in that holding pattern of a seller's market. That being said, your agent, this is where experience and skill comes in, is really going to go over the things needed to win an offer. They're going to take the time to talk to the other side, to get a feel for what's going on. Know this, not every listing agent is going to be very direct and tell you what's up. Their goal as a listing agent is to get the most money for their seller. And that means competition is the best thing for their seller. And so I find that agents work in one of three ways. Either an agent is not going to tell you anything. They're just going to say, do your best. Or an agent's going to hint around. Or you might get the rare agent that's like, hey, this is what it's going to take. Boom. Good luck. I love those agents, right? But that's not usually what happens. It's one or two. And so this is where knowing the market, having a good agent that's going to do the research to say, look, this price, this asking price for this home is this. We know there's 6 offers in, 4 offers coming in. I believe this is what's going to happen. Based on an analysis of the area, you probably could safely go up to this amount and still appraise. This is what we probably should do. And you really need to strategize with your agent to put your best foot forward. Part of that has to do with your contingencies. Are you doing a home inspection? Is the home inspection an actual contingency? Do you know you can do a home inspection and not have it be a contingency to the deal? And what does that mean? That means you get a home inspection for informational purposes and you can't back out of the purchase based on the home inspection, but you could still get one done. It might mean you have very short time frame to do that. It might mean you have a very short escrow. There's lenders out there that can do a close in 21 days, 14 days. You know, it's all, again, it's those relationships. Who are you working with as an agent? Who do they have great relationships as lenders that can get the job done? All of these things make your offer competitive, and it's still a competitive market for the most part. Now, let's say you won the offer. So now this is super exciting, and you might be saying, well, what's next? There's a number of steps. Again, if you're having a home inspection, that's one of the things that needs to get scheduled and to take place. Typically what happens as soon as your offer is accepted, if it's an escrow state, escrow is opened and you need to wire your deposit in. If it's an attorney state, you need to send your deposit into the listing agent's office, into their escrow account to hold it. Now, that deposit is always held in escrow until you close. And this is your technical money that's at risk, but as long as you adhere to contingencies in your purchase agreement, you'll be okay. The other funds that you're going to spend during the process of purchasing a home is going to be your home inspection. Depending on the size of the home will dictate the cost. An appraisal, if you are getting a loan. Your homeowner's insurance is a cost you're going to need to do. If you're in a state like California, typically the home warranty is covered by the seller, but if you're not in a state like California where that's the case, that might be something worth talking to your real estate agent about, because having a home warranty, it covers some of the mechanics of the home. So it covers if something goes wrong with the plumbing or the heating or the water heater, you know, the stove, the refrigerator, those items can be covered, and those expenses can really run up. So it's nice to have something in place. The biggest thing I can say about that type of policy is this is something you should renew year over year. It can truly, truly save you money. I've personally had more than one water heater covered by it. I've had an HVAC system covered by it, and I've had to pay for an HVAC system myself, which was not fun, because it never happens when you just have all the money sitting right there. It always happens at like the most inopportune time, right? So those types of investments are well worth it and well worth continuing year over year. So again, you're going to be spending money on your deposit, which is your earnest money deposit. And depending on how you've structured your deal, it might be 3%. If you're super aggressive, maybe it's 5%. You have that money. You have your inspection, your appraisal, your homeowner's insurance, and if you need to pay for home warranty, that. And plus you also have to consider how much are you putting down on your loan. So if your loan is a 10% down or 20% down, you also need to make sure you have the rest of those funds available, because you will need to come into those, you will need to bring that money into the closing before you can actually close on your property. And the other thing to consider is making sure you have your closing costs. Now, these are things that really your agent should be telling you about in the very beginning, just giving you that brief overview, and also your lender. These are important questions to ask. But typically speaking, your closing costs are 2% to 3.5%. As you get closer to the close, you're going to start to get numbers from the lender, from escrow, that really go over these. There's a closing disclosure that itemizes everything. It itemizes all fees, the taxes you're paying, the prepaid taxes, the commission to the seller's agent, the commission to the buyer's agent. And even though those numbers say one thing, please understand most agents, and when I say most, I mean 99%, do not get 100% of that commission. It gets divvied up between the brokerage, it gets other fees are involved, marketing expenses. You don't get to keep all of that. I wish that would be an excellent living, but it doesn't work out that way. So you go through that. And what's important to know too, and I'm sorry I missed this part because I kind of got hung up on if your home inspection is for informational purposes versus a contingency. If your home inspection is still a contingency in your offer, once you have that home inspection, pending the results, there might be some repairs or requests that need to be made. And keep in mind, I always like to explain it like this. Your home inspection is like going to your general physician for an annual checkup. They're going to, check your blood pressure, your heart rate, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of the same thing. A home inspector goes in, checks the water pressure, checks and looks for leaking, makes sure that the heat's working, that the AC's working, that the stove's working, and kind of looking for the age of those mechanicals, taking an eyeball look at the roof. But they're not a specialist. So let's say they see some signs of leaking. They might not be able to determine where that comes from. Maybe they see something that looks suspicious in the foundation. They're not a foundation specialist. They might see something that looks suspicious in the electrical box, but they're not an electrician. So you might need to have a series of inspections done versus just one general home inspection. And those inspections range from a termite inspection, sewer inspection, roof inspection, chimney inspection, having a plumber come out and checking out the plumbing, electrical. Again, these are conversations to have with your agent before you even go into the inspection process. Like, at what point do you do the next things? If you're buying a home that has a fireplace and they can't tell you if it's been used, and you are someone that likes to use the fireplace in the winter for ambiance, or maybe like this past winter that we've just had has been unusually cold and you might actually want to use it for heat, then you probably should get that done. We are a very dry climate. We tend to get a lot of termites. That might be something that you should be requesting, because termite damage is a real thing. So this is all part of the process as well. And once you get through all the negotiations, whether they're going to do repairs or credits, all of that is documented so that you know how you're moving forward. Once you get to the closing, there's always going to be a walkthrough prior to closing. You want to make sure that the home is in the same condition, that a bomb hasn't dropped on it, a plane hasn't fallen from the sky, some kid hasn't thrown a ball through the window and broken a window. You just want to make sure it's in the same condition. Once you are ready to close, you're going to be doing the closing. And so that usually entails, if you're getting funding, signing loan documents, the deed, if you're paying cash, the deed and title and all of that. The home is not 100% yours until it goes on record with the new deed in whatever county or city registration that you're purchasing the home in. So typically you do not get the keys until it is what we call on record and verified, and then you're able to get the keys and move in. So this is a bit of a process, but hopefully this overview just kind of helps you to understand that process a little bit, and that there's a right order to go about doing things. And that's probably one of the most important things I can share with you. A lot of times today, people are starting their search online and they want to rush out and look at homes. And quite frankly, I've worked with a lot of buyers that I've met through my website or who have called me because they've watched a video. And that's fine. Usually I'll show you a home, at first, so that we can sit down and talk about these things in the process and really kind of see where you're at. And if your ducks are not in a row, I'm going to strongly recommend you get your ducks in a row. Because the absolute worst thing you can do is put off getting your financing together if you are needing to get a loan and think, oh, I'll just wait. Go and look at a property and you don't have everything ready to go and to get the approval. And while you're scurrying around doing that, someone makes an offer and the property is now sold. You don't want to be in that position. You always want to be prepared. And there's sometimes a lot of misconceptions out there as well. A pre-approval is typically good for 3 to 4 months before the lender needs to verify some more information to give you a new approval. So if you're thinking, I'm not ready to look for another month or two, still go ahead and get it. You need to have that starting point. And more often than not, I find with first-time home buyers, the longer that you pre-look, and what I mean by that is checking online, going to some open houses, before you're actually ready, the quicker you're able to make a decision when you are ready to buy, because you've already kind of done some of that browsing, if you will, and you're able to recognize a property that best works for you much quicker. So hopefully all of this is helpful to you. I obviously have some buyer's guides, and there's a link below where you can go ahead and get one that has a general overview. And if there's a certain area that you want to focus on, I have a lot of great information on different neighborhoods. If you want to get on my calendar because you're thinking you're going to want to purchase a home in the next 6 months to a year, and you just want to, again, kind of go over what should I do first. You want to start lightly looking, doing some browsing. You need reliable information and not just the internet, because oftentimes information on Zillow, Redfin, and these other sites that people are drawn to, they're not connected to the MLS. So a lot of times the information's old or a little bit misleading. So you want something more accurate. I'm happy to be your resource and happy to help you get prepared to get to that stage. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope today's video has been helpful to you. Just another recap, and it's important to be ready and for your home search, especially in today's market. We're still in a seller's market. There's still competition. The sky is not falling. We're still moving forward. Thank you guys again so much for watching. See you on the next video.